Hello, welcome back to my podcast for our little July episode. I hope everyone's doing well. Thank you for waiting patiently for a new episode. I feel very unprepared. I feel like all the other episodes I've been doing, I've been taking notes beforehand, and I don't know, couldn't be bothered today. So we're just gonna go off the cuff. I did prepare a couple of pictures of patterns I want to show on my iPad. But other than that, we're just gonna be going with the flow, you know? I am here in Zagreb, Croatia in my apartment on actually a very lovely Sunday afternoon. We've had some real intense weather the past few days, like hurricane force winds and like flash flooding and these really like quick, like 15-20 minute storms that come out of nowhere and then disappear and then the sun comes back out. A lot of damage around the city. I'm shocked. I have not lost power, so that's great. But with the rain, the temperature has gone down. It's going back up today, but it is not bad outside for the moment. I feel like tomorrow it's gonna start to feel hot again. It's been really difficult to sleep in the heat. As someone from Texas, I'm used to the heat, but I'm also used to the air conditioning. Air conditioning is non-negotiable in Texas and also in Florida where I lived before coming here. And most of us in the South really pump out the AC and like to make our spaces kind of freezing cold. So yeah, no, air conditioning here is intense. I've stayed in places without AC before, and it's bad every time. It doesn't matter, I'll never be used to it. But luckily I do have the ability, I've trained myself on hot nights to be able to sleep on top of my blanket with no cover, which I know is difficult to do. I mean, it's difficult for me, but I got used to it. The first time where I had to force myself to learn to sleep without anything on me was a few summers ago in Montreal. I was in an apartment with no air conditioning during record high heat waves that summer in Montreal. So yeah, not my first rodeo in places without air conditioning. Hopefully my last though. All right, I'm gonna pour myself a little beverage. I have this Monster, which is Lewis Hamilton Monster Energy Zero Sugar. This is like a collab. I don't really know who Lewis Hamilton is. Like, this is the first time I heard his name, but I guess he's pretty famous as like a race car driver, like Formula One or something. I don't know. I don't really know anything about race car driving. Like, I don't know what the difference between Formula One and NASCAR and any of the different categories of car racing, and I'm okay with that. I don't really need to know about that. What I do know is that this is a yummy flavor of a zero sugar Monster, so you don't see it in all the stores. It's kind of hard to find, so when I see it, I grab it. It's like peach flavored. I had to look it up. I'm really bad at like being able to taste some sort of candy or artificial thing and know what I'm tasting. And I'm bad with smelling too. Like, for someone who loves perfume, I really don't have a good nose for it. I can't almost ever smell a perfume and really name the notes well. But that doesn't mean I don't enjoy it. After I Googled this and realized that it has notes of stone fruits such as peach and nectarine, I was like, oh, clearly, yeah. And also it's peach colored. And I'm enjoying this in a nice heavy lead crystal glass I got from the flea market here for I think €5. I got 2 of them, so for €5 each. Feels like a good deal for genuine crystal. I'm happy with that. I feel like today I'm not gonna talk for 2 hours. I feel like we may even get this done in 30 minutes just because I didn't prepare that much to talk about. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about like the fun Croatia fact to share today. I don't know if I can think of any. It's the high season, it's summer, tourists are here, the coast is super busy, so I haven't been to the coast in a while. I really love to get to the coast some point while it is so hot, but we'll see. All the like rentals and stuff get booked in advance and are really expensive this time of year naturally. So I might just wait till the end of summer where it's still hot, but it's much better after August or late August. Most of the tourists have gone home and there's more space on beaches and stuff. Let's talk about what I'm wearing. I am wearing my new dappled lace raglan that I knit for the Dappled Lace Raglan Cal. Thank you to everyone who took part in the knit along. That was a lot of fun. We had a good number of participants. I gave out a lot of prizes. I think there were 11 or 12 prizes I gave out. Like 6 gift cards, and then I think 5 people I sent my full pattern library to, which is really fun. I feel like, I mean, I've never been sent no, actually I have been sent someone's entire pattern library. Once I was talking to Jessie May, and I was just like, hey, please send me every pattern you've ever designed, and she was like, okay. So it is fun to get, you know, however many, 20, 30 emails in a row, all with patterns from Ravelry. If you hear traffic noises and outside noises, sorry, deal with it. Hopefully not though. Hopefully no one comes and is honking their horn really obnoxiously, but it does happen, so it might happen. I have the door to my balcony open because it's too hot otherwise. I need the airflow. Particularly in this, let's talk about this a little bit. This is my new Dappled Lace Raglan, as I said, knit in fingering weight, single ply, 100% silk. I feel like it's mulberry silk. And actually, like, the different varieties of silk is something I'd like to research because I really like knowing about fiber and yarn, and I know a lot about fiber from spinning and just years of knitting, and it's just something I'm interested in. I could talk about the different types of fibers, preparations, spinning techniques, yarn constructions for hours. But the different types of silk, I've done a little bit of reading on in the past and it hasn't stuck, and that's something I couldn't really explain to you that well. So that's a gap in my knowledge I'd like to fill. But I think this is mulberry silk, but I don't really know what mulberry silk is. There's also like tussa silk. I don't know. I know there's different silk harvesting methods. I think some are more humane than others. So I sized down on this sweater. My initial sample, the beige one that I did in the Ritual Dyes Undine, is a size large, and that is my size for this pattern. I sized down to medium for this one, just for a tighter fit. Like my my large is exactly the pattern, like within a millimeter. Like it is so spot on to the gauge of the pattern, which we love that. So I think it's like exactly 6 inches of positive ease. And with the lace and with the linen cotton blend of that yarn, it's just so airy and comfortable and has an oversized feel to it, which I really love. But I was like, let me do something different for this version and have it a little more fitted. And I did not knit a gauge swatch because I was like, this is my pattern, this is my design, this is my 3rd time knitting it because I knit 2 samples in Undine for the release, one for me and one for my friend Anna, and we modeled them together. And so I didn't swatch. I was like, I don't need to swatch. I already know my tension and my needle size, but I could have swatched. I haven't actually ever measured this sweater. I don't know if it ended up the dimensions of a size medium, but my very educated guess is that I'm off gauge for this. I think I'm a bit under. I think I'm smaller because this shit is so tight on me. I did not intend for this to fit so tight. It looks like a figure skating costume. Like, it's sexy, I like it. I like that fit, but that's not exactly what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be like, I went down one size. So if I had 6 inches of positive ease in a large, I should have had about 2 inches of positive ease in this size, which, I don't know, maybe around my waist I have a little bit of positive ease, but my chest is where there should be 2 inches, and I feel like it's like 0. And then the sleeves are negative ease. I did do my sleeve decreases a little bit different in this version than my initial version. I actually like I made them much more seamless. If you've ever really been a detective and a private investigator on the sleeves of my other ones, the decreases I did were very easy and practical. And that's what I wanted to knit. That's also what I wanted to write, because primarily Doppelblaze Raglan is designed to be short sleeve, and most people are going to knit short sleeve. It's what people like for summer patterns. So sleeves are annoying to design and write too, because everyone's arm length is so variable, and it's not correlated with bust size, which is what the pattern is based off of, and how you choose your size. And I don't want to write a sleeve perfectly where the decreases are spaced out exactly right to get to the exact right wrist circumference, and then have to write several versions for different arm lengths. Like, be for real, I'm not doing that. So I made a simple version of the sleeve, very simple, for decreases to write in the pattern. But then when I was knitting this version, I was like, you know what? I understand the way lace works, and the way this lace works, and the way this pattern works intuitively enough to where I can make a more beautiful sleeve without, I didn't have to write anything down. I just knew how to do it. But it ended up extremely seamless. So I shouldn't be talking about this and showing this to y'all, because I feel like someone's gonna be like, please tell me how you did it. Please add it to the pattern. And no, maybe one day, but not today. I can't even describe. I don't even properly remember. I think I did decreases every other row for the entire length of the sleeve, and only one decrease per decrease round. So I went back and forth between, I think I would do 8 decreases on one side of the sleeve, and then 8 decreases on the other side of the sleeve. This is boring. I'm done talking about it. I'm boring myself. Hopefully you're not dying to know more details about this. The thing is, it's beautiful. But yeah, the sleeves are really tight. The bind off is a bit tight for me on this, which is something I could redo if I wanted to, but as long as I can get it over my body, that's enough for me. I don't care. It's not uncomfortably squeezing me, but I do have to roll it over my chest. So yeah, it makes sense though that I would not get the same gauge using this very soft single ply silk and then with the Undine, which has half linen. Linen wants to take up space. Actually, this is a real secret. I never even blocked my my long sleeve Undine sample because it doesn't need it. I swear, the Undine knits up at the gauge it's gonna be because the linen wants to be open. And I've worn it a ton, a lot. So I've stretched it out a lot to the point where, what I mean by that is if it were going to grow in blocking, I have already done that through wear, right? And it's still the exact measurement that it should be in the pattern. So yeah, I didn't swatch for this and it came out tight. Surprise, surprise. I like it, but a couple of things. I think I talked about it last time about how I had some concerns with my yarn choice, and I still have those concerns. I think they're valid. I already can just see there's a halo to this, and it's not the kind of halo you have on mohair. This is the kind of halo where it just, I think, because I've barely worn this. I've worn this for a photo shoot and that's all. This is my second time wearing this. I think with a lot of wear, this is gonna get kind of pilly and perhaps dingy, but it's so beautiful. So hopefully I'll always enjoy wearing it, even if it is a little bit pilly. That's okay, I hope. But yeah, not wearing this, it's surprisingly warm. It's really warm. That's the other thing that I said I was afraid of with how soft it is. Soft fuzzy fibers, even if they are not wool, are just more insulating than things that are slick and streamlined and don't have fibers poking out all over the place, right? The Undine is a very clean, sleek yarn, and this is not. This is halo-y and fuzzy and soft. So too warm. That's why I really needed to take advantage if I wanted to wear this for a podcast episode and record now while it's still not too hot in my apartment. And I was sweating buckets when I wore this like a month ago to go out and take pictures outside. I was so sweaty. What else about this? I felt like I had something else to say about the silk and me being sweaty and it being hot. I'm gonna get a lot of wear out of this in the fall and maybe even in the winter under a coat or something. But, oh, the other thing that makes it warm is that it's tight. I don't know if y'all feel that way about tight clothing, but tight clothing just is more warming and insulating and makes me sweat. That's why I really like oversized clothing. Ugh, traffic noise. Ew, oh my god, don't look at my foot. I did not mean to swing my foot into the frame, but I probably just did. I got some flowers. I got flowers at the market yesterday. They're cute and they were not too expensive. €6 for two small bundles. I don't know what these are. They smell nice. They smell herbaceous. Okay, so first order of business, done talking about this, finally. I updated my website, so please check it out, jamesandwatts.com. And it was my PayHip, and I've converted my PayHip into my personal website, which is really great. They have all that functionality to do that. So you can actually shop my patterns there, but if you use Ravelry, I recommend buying my patterns off Ravelry because I think I make more money if you buy my patterns off Ravelry a little bit, and the Ravelry infrastructure is just better for you to have a safe place to be able to download that pattern in perpetuity from your library. So I always prefer the much higher level of functionality of Ravelry versus PayHip. And I started a newsletter. So when you go to my website, you'll get a little pop-up for the newsletter. And then there's also a newsletter tab. If you X'd out of the pop-up and without signing up, you can click on the newsletter tab and go to that site and sign up there. And yeah, I just announced the newsletter the other day with my new pattern release, and it's going well so far. A nice little bundle of people signed up. You do get a coupon for $1 off any pattern of mine on Ravelry. You get a code for that when you sign up as a welcome gift to the newsletter. And sign up. You know, if you're here, if you're a YouTube viewer, then I think you understand that something about me is that I really like to treasure and treat people who love and support me in a special way on every platform, right? I never want to just make one kind of content and then blast it out in the exact same form in 6 different places. So I haven't put out an official newsletter yet. I don't know when I'll do that. All you'll get when you sign up is the welcome email. But I'm sure I will include things that what I write in the newsletter, maybe photos that I put, that you're not gonna get anywhere else. And it's gonna be a different side of me and my voice. It's fun for me to do that. And I think, as I said, I think of it as a treat for people who wanna consume that from me. I feel like the YouTube viewers will get it because I think you get more of me here in this format than anywhere else. There's nowhere else where I have ever been so open and talked so much, so freely as I do on YouTube. So I also like to show designs that I'm not showing anywhere else because I just feel like it's a different audience and it's not gonna spread or blow up in the same way that it might on Instagram. So I feel like if you're here, it's safe to say that you're already a real one and you love me and you support me. So sign up for my newsletter. I'll put a link in the video description if I remember. So don't choose this to be fake with. Because also, I will never spam you. For one, I don't have the patience to be making newsletters all the time. And two, it's annoying. I would never want anyone to sign up for my newsletter and then be getting emails all the time. You'll probably get an email every time I have a pattern launch, and in that email will also give an update on the other goings on in the James and Watts biosphere. So expect like an email per month or less. We can commit to that, right? It's not too invasive. What's one more email subscription? Unsubscribe to like 5 others if you need to, and then subscribe to me. Oh my God. Let's have some Lewis Hamilton go-go juice. What do I want to talk about next? I just released a new pattern on Friday, and that is the boat neck batwing. I have to think about it. I have trauma about this. When I was coming up with a name for this pattern, to me, boat neck batwing was the obvious order of words. Boat neck is 2 words, batwing is 1 word. I Googled it. And it just has a natural flow to me. However, I understand that it's really easy to get confused, and even my own test knitters, there was a nice large chunk of people who used the flipped version of the hashtag. The hashtag and the pattern is hashtag boat neck batwing, but I definitely had a lot of posts in hashtag batwing boat neck. I was joking around a little bit about that on my stories. I don't know if y'all saw. I was calling it like bat neck boatwing. Bat neck. Gross. So that pattern came out on Friday. Thank you to those of you who purchased it, said nice things about it, liked the stories. Any level of support goes noticed and appreciated. I'm happier with this pattern than I thought I was gonna be. I was feeling a little bit like scared of this pattern for some reason. I mean, if you've been watching the previous episodes, this is the one that I like had to like start from scratch when it was almost done. So that's probably why. But I'm happy with the end result, and the release has gone well. I don't have that sample to show you. I ended up knitting, I like knit a rough version, like a rough draft of the pattern that I use as the sample for photography, and I knit the whole thing in like a week on vacation in June. Was that June? No, in May. And Park modeled it for me, Park and Knit modeled it for me, and then I let her keep the sample. So I don't have anything to show other than the picture. Here's the pattern cover. Y'all know, if you've ever purchased one of my patterns, that I like to do really cute pattern covers that feel special, especially if you guys are printing them out, or even if you're not, even if you're just on an iPad like this. It's special looking, almost like a magazine cover. I really love choosing interesting fonts, and there's a lot of free fonts you can use online, but I recently found a whole bunch of like graphic designers who sell like their own original fonts on Etsy. And yeah, this is my first time buying a font for a pattern, so that's exciting. I don't remember what it's called. Libre? I don't know. So yeah, it is knit in Pearl Soho, cattail silk, from extra small to 5XL. All sizes can be knit in one skein of this. It's a lace weight yarn. It's a little bit of a heavy lace weight, almost like light fingering, but I would say more lace. It's like 600 yards per 100 gram skein, I think. I think of lace more as being 800 yards per 100 gram skein for like the most traditional weight. But it's 100% silk. I think it's also 100% mulberry silk, but it's completely different construction and texture from this silk. The silk is buttery soft and like so drapey, and then the cattail silk is rough. It's like rustic and rough. It's a beautiful yarn, but it doesn't have this like soft quality. But the roughness gives it a lightness and like a lack of drape a little bit that is really suitable for this pattern, because the lace, the mesh lace stitch that I use for this pattern is so slinky that gravity really wants to pull it down so that the torso gets longer and the sleeves get zipped in shorter, more narrow. And using a really lightweight yarn that does not have that heavy drape helps the top keep its wider shape, which is more the silhouette. Like it's a nice crop you can see here. But on some of the tester versions, people who either use wool or just heavier yarn, it really got long in the torso. And that's okay, it still looks nice, but it's a little bit different than the intended silhouette. So I would say use the cattail silk or use something similar. I feel like you could honestly, I mean, I haven't tried it and I don't think any of the testers did this, but I have a theory that this pattern would actually work totally fine in like crochet thread, honestly. If you want something super duper budget friendly or any other kind of like thread like cotton. It's knit bottom up in the round, and the sizing, this is my only garment that is like this, the sizing is based on your waist measurement. So you choose the size that is like 4 to 6 inches larger than your waist measurement, and it has shaping like this on the side seams. It gets bigger in a triangular like manner, and then you split at the underarm and knit flat the front and the back, which are identical, and then a 3 needle bind off for the neckline. No shaping, it's just a long slit, which gives you the beautiful boat neck. And ideally you want to be able to wear it off the shoulder or on the shoulder if you want. And if you are knitting this pattern and you're unsure of that, then I suggest pinning your top before you do the 3 needle bind off. Well, you have to go ahead and do the bind off of the neckline before you do the 3 needle bind off anyway. So what you could do is knit all the way of the front until you get to the end, and don't do the neck bind off, and then get the back in the same place. And then like you can pin it and see exactly like how many stitches you want to bind off, and then go in and do your neck bind offs and then do your 3 needle bind off. If you want to customize it and make sure you get that perfect fit. But I think the stitch counts used in the pattern are going to work for most people to be able to wear it off or on the shoulder. The only thing is like you have to make sure you don't bind off too tightly on that neckline, because it's an easy way for open lace like this. It's really easy to bind off tight and cinch in your work. Don't do that. No. So yeah, that's all there is to say about that. It's such a simple pattern. The pattern instruction fits on 2 pages, which is a thing of beauty. I love when I can get a pattern so streamlined and simplified. And I think I spoke about this a little bit before, but that was actually kind of one of the blessings of having to start this pattern over, and the beauty of it. There was multiple parts of this pattern that I was doing so unnecessarily complicated on my first go through on this. And yeah, having to redo it gave me the opportunity to look at it again and be like, why am I doing this way? Like, why am I splitting this portion of the pattern up for every different size with different instructions? Like, is there any way I can get everyone in one set of instructions? And I did, for the most part. There's a tiny split, like first half of the sizes do this and the second half of the sizes do this, but it's not like all over the place. When I asked Park if she would model this, she of course she agreed, but we were laughing. I think she was the one who said something like, oh my gosh, like this is gonna hurt your sales of this pattern having model. She's like, people are sick of me because she models her own patterns, usually. She often models for Jessie May, and this is her first, I think this is her first time modeling for me, but she's like, you too? Oh my God, I'm like on the cover of all these patterns, people are sick of me. Which, who could be sick of Park and Nick? Come on, if you are, go to therapy. Okay, I definitely don't have any pattern release for August, so don't cry about it. I will be back in September with my Ritual Dyes Equinox special collaboration, and I assume that, I know that's like, okay, I don't know anything. I think I think that is like a limited edition. It's definitely a limited edition thing, but I also think there's a limited number of pre-orders for that. But I don't think it's sold out, but we should sell it out. So everyone go consider purchasing that because it's gonna be really beautiful. I received the yarn like 2 weeks ago and I really got working quickly on that. And I have already figured out it's a color work project, I'll tell you that. It's a color work hat. Oh my gosh. Ritual Dyes, don't watch this. I don't know if I'm allowed to say, like how much I'm allowed to say. But see, that is what I mean about me really loving my YouTube viewers. Y'all are loyal for wanting to sit here and listen to me talk about boring shit like knitting for hours. It's really sweet, and I feel indebted to you in a way that makes me probably like breach contract and tell you things that are supposed to be a big secret. But it's a color work hat. I would have to like go through and reread my whatever I agreed to. But I'm assuming we want to keep some excitement around the announcement of this collaboration and not show what the design looks like, but it's beautiful, okay? It's really beautiful. I'm excited for that. So that'll probably be my next pattern release all the way in September, which feels like such a long way away, but I have a lot to start working on these days. Sorry I won't show you. Sorry I don't love you that much. Also, I'm tempted to, but I'm scared, okay? It's scary. What else was I gonna say? That'll come out, and then probably in October or November, I'll have a sweater with Moondrake's yarn coming out, and I have showed that swatch on here. It's beautiful. I need to really start working on that. It's making me scared because I just feel like it's gonna be so much knitting. It's gonna be knitting and seaming. Sorry about it, but I think this sweater will be so visually striking, impactful, and stunning that it'll be worth the seaming that you have to do. Also, I like seaming. It's a privilege to purl and it's a privilege to seam, okay? Who doesn't like the satisfying feeling of pulling your mattress stitch and watching it go? That is fun and sexy and cool. Those are the only designs. Oh, I wish I had my Noro. I got new Noro. Will you hate me if I get up for 5 seconds? No, you could never hate me. I'll be right back. I'm not editing this out either. Like, let's be for real. Not going through this footage and editing stuff. I finally ordered this Noro that I have been eyeing for months, ever since. This is one of the new colorways of Silk Garden Sock. Let's do a little close up. It is Silk Garden Sock, which is one of my favorite bases to work with. You get a lot of yardage out of a skein, but the Noro is so rustic with the single ply and like, it's very high friction yarn, if that makes sense. You can really knit it at a much bigger gauge. I knit this at like a worsted gauge, and you do get a little bit of a more drapey fabric that way, but I never feel like any of my garments that I knit at that gauge with this yarn are like overly drapey or like see-through or anything like that. Like, the quality of this yarn is just that it blooms a lot, okay? So I will also start working on a new modular design with this. It's gonna be super cool. It's gonna be like you have a square, and then you have like that, and then you have like that, and then you have like that, like almost like stair steps. Maybe that'll be the name of the pattern, who knows? But it'll be cool, it'll be fun, it'll be sexy. We love Nora, we love modular knitting. Speaking of modular knitting, I'm teaching a class on modular knitting at Barcelona Knits Festival in November, as well as a class on lace knitting, intro to lace knitting. And those are officially announced out in the world and for sale. So if you are attending the festival and trying to think about classes you want to take, or if you're considering and you're like thinking about a trip to Spain and wanting to go to this festival, This is my first big teaching appearance and I'm really excited for it. So I want to see those classes sell out. There are a good number of spots left in each class, but there's only 20 spots total. So do jump on that if you're thinking about it. I'm just starting to like plan what I'm gonna do for that because I'm gonna go early. I'm gonna go a few days early and get to see, it'll be my first time in Spain. So I wanna take the opportunity to spend a few days in Barcelona before the festival. So that's really exciting. I should like be putting like links to that on like my link tree or something, I don't know. But I can link it in the description down below if I remember. So there's that, there's my teaching. Let's talk about what I'm knitting. Nora fell on the ground. I am knitting a rib lace raglan. This is my first time knitting one for myself. And it's out of that blue silk. What is with me and silk and blue? And also like, I didn't talk enough about this. These are my colors. These are my colors. The blues with the purples and the lilac and the lavender and the grays. I love cool tones a lot. Ugh. So, I'm wearing 100% silk blue sweater and I'm knitting another 100% silk blue sweater. In such a pretty deep electric cobalt blue. I love this shade. And this silk is also the rough kind. This is very like high friction, dry, rustic, rough feeling. That makes it sound so unappealing, but it's nice. It's a nice feeling. It still has a little bit of that. It has a silkiness to it without it feeling like satin, you know? It has that beautiful, almost raw silk feeling. And this is soft silk. Funny name after the description I just gave. The yarn is called soft silk from BC Garn. I bought it in Berlin. Yum. Sorry to Lackerberger's book that I'm using as a coaster. What to say about this? Let me show you it properly, I guess. So I've been addicted to like using this technique to do the shaping on all my raglans in the round where you start and knit flat. If you've done the shaping for Dapper Blues Raglan, or if you've done the shaping for Look at My Holes version 2.0, I'm just incorporating the same technique onto this. Just to see, because like for me, I've done it enough times now that it's really easy. Like I can figure out how to do it on the fly. Like I don't need to write anything down or anything. But I shouldn't tell you that because like, again, we'll see how it turns out. Like, I don't know, maybe it'll look weird. There's more rows of the shaping on this just because I always do whatever one pattern repeat is, and on most my other raglans I did it's 8 rows of shaping. This has a 14 row repeat, so I did 14 rows of shaping, and the shaping does look a little like wonky, but I'm pretty sure that it is going to smooth out once I do. I'm gonna do a little I-cord neckline on this, and that's gonna just smooth it and round it all out. But I regret like talking about it, potentially even doing it, because I don't want people to ask me to write it into the pattern the way I did for Look at My Holes. Like, I don't know, if I had a ton of people insisting on it, then I'd consider it, but I just don't want to. It's a little bit more complicated on this pattern than it is on my others. I think even though it's like simple for me, I think it would like tweak the whole pattern a little bit with the way I wrote it for this. So not interested, sorry. Probably not gonna do that. And like when I post this on Instagram, I probably won't even mention that I did shaping because I know people are gonna be like, put it in the pattern, we want shaping. Here's the thing, I understand with a raglan or a top-down sweater that little bit of shaping can really make a nice difference, and like when patterns don't have it, you can very much get like an overly high front neck and it chokes you a little bit, and I've definitely seen some people's rib lace raglans that look like that, and it's not the most comfortable. like thing to wear, but as someone who designed the pattern and knit the sample, and this problem tends to occur more on the smaller sizes, right? They have smaller neck circumferences and pattern, so like it's already more in danger of choking. But having knit a size medium, one of the smaller sizes, for the sample, it turned out beautifully. The neckline is so like open and relaxed, just because I like intuitively know how to achieve that through tension, and I'm always talking about tension on cast on and bind off and I cords and all these things. It's something I think about a lot, and it's something that's really difficult to tell people how to do. But it's something I like to put notes about that in my pattern and hope for the best for people. But with no shaping on this, you can still get a beautiful open neckline that is not choking you, but you have to, anything that is top down, that, especially, if it has some type of edging on the neckline, but the pattern starts with like the body and you do the ribbing after, then in that situation, ribbing or I-cord or whatever the edging is, when you do that last, I highly recommend, even if the pattern doesn't say this, cast on loose as hell, because you can always tighten that up as much as you want with whatever you do as far as ribbing or I-cord or whatever. Like you could take something that is so massively oversized and make it so tight that it doesn't fit over your head, and it's gonna look like, I can never tell that like it's being cinched in so much by that band, right? So that is my advice. Even things that do start with the edging, like version 1 of Look at My Holes, you start with the ribbing. So like if you make it too tight at the beginning, it's just gonna be too tight. So even with that, I would suggest go looser, and even if it is too loose, you could always, on top of some ribbing or on top of whatever edging it has, you could pick up stitches and just do one round of knitting and a little bit of a tighter bind off and tighten it up. Rather that than end up with something that is irreversible, right? So that's a big spiel. But anything that is like top down like that doesn't have that shaping, and you're worried about that high neck, just really keep things loose and you can make it elegant and beautiful, okay? If you don't believe me, go look at the pattern images that I put out for my friend Alexandra, modeled that for me, and it just turned out elegant and beautiful. But that being said, I like the shaping, and that's why I know how to do it easily. So for myself, I'm doing it. Yeah, no one out me in the comments on Instagram, because like I said, I'm probably not gonna like really draw too much attention to it, because I think people will want it if they think it's an option. And as I said, if it were simple, I would be more inclined to add it in. But I think it would just fuck with my entire pattern a little bit, and I don't have time to redo this whole pattern. A pattern that works already beautifully as written, okay? So yeah, I'm working on this slowly because it's not a priority, it's not a new design. I'm between design knitting right now, so this is all I'm working on for the past couple of days. And it should be done soon. I'm gonna do short sleeve for this, and I hope it fits and that I like wearing it. I did not do a gauge swatch, felt too lazy about it. Seems about right to me. That's Ribley's Raglan, signing out. I think that's about all that I really have to talk about with knitting. I would love to design some type of other accessory, like a shawl or a scarf, by the end of this year. We'll see if I have the time for it and the energy, or like if I can come up with an idea that I really love. But if that's something y'all be interested in, like, let me know. Like, would you want to see me do some type of lace shawl or wrap or scarf? You want a modular accessory? I mean, ideally at some point I'll get into both, but big thing to think about what I want my first like big shawl pattern to be, right? My first pattern ever is actually like a small asymmetrical shawl. And it's a free pattern called Cell Space. And I came up with the mesh that I use for Cell Space myself, and it's kind of like the pre-evolution of the lace that I use in Look at My Holes. So my very first pattern kind of has some of the ingredients for the recipe that became Look at My Holes, which is fun and sweet. I'm reading again. I think I talked about how I read Samantha Irby's new book, and then I read Game of Thrones on my vacation. Game of Thrones was a lot, it's like 700 pages, so it took me a while to finish, like a month, but I finished it a couple weeks ago. And then I did not want to lose my reading habit, so I ordered more books. Ordered like 5 books, but I'll just talk about the one I'm starting with. It is Migrations by Charlotte McConaughey. I don't know if that's how you say that. I saw it recommended on TikTok as like a really sad tearjerker book about a scientific researcher who is living in a world that has been ravaged by climate change, where like species are going extinct like every day. And she is on a voyage on a fishing ship to try to follow the last colony of Arctic terns, of these birds, on their migration from the North Pole to the South Pole, and what is potentially their last migration before the species dies out. So I'm only like 3 chapters in, but you can see already how this sounds like it could be a really devastating book. I like it so far. And hopefully by the next podcast episode, I should have finished this and be on to the next one, so I can talk about it a little bit more then. Maybe on the Ravelry group, and that's another space where I do different things on that Ravelry group than I do anywhere else, and it's such a different form and mode of communication to be typing on the forums. Thank you to people who participate in them. It's really fun and it's really sweet. But we have like a music thread that's new. I think it's the only new one. There's also a pattern support thread, which I don't think anyone's used, but that's new. It's just something I wanted to experiment with. If anyone wanted to try seeking out pattern support, and also if community members wanted to help each other in that thread, it's something worth giving a shot. But yeah, feel free to go use those forums and connect with me and connect with other people on them. But it might be a good idea to start a book thread. I started a music thread and I haven't checked in a few days, but I think only one person like posted on it besides me, but that's okay. I'm all right with that. If anyone wants to just read my posts and like look at my recommendations for music, go do that. I recommend 3 albums that are just like stunningly beautiful and easy to listen to if you like having like easy listening kind of music. I mean, it's not easy listening genre, but you get what I mean. It's something you can have on in the background that just is a little atmospheric, sets the mood and the tone for maybe doing some work or something. Check out the music thread on Ravelry. But maybe we want to have a book thread too. I would love that. And then also maybe we need a reality TV thread, because there's the anime thread, which I also posted in recently if you want to have an update. I like not prepared to talk about anime at the moment, so I'm not going to say anything. So if you are interested in my thoughts on anime, just go read my newest post where I give an update on what I like watched, what I completed, and what I want to watch and what I'm watching. But maybe we need a reality TV thread, but I don't know. Reality TV is so trashy. It's such a dangerous topic. But I'll talk about it a little bit here now. Real Housewives, and really when I say reality TV, what I'm watching is mostly Real Housewives. I did watch that new Netflix show, The Ultimatum, Queer Love Edition or whatever, about a bunch of lesbian couples who had one partner who proposed and one partner who was not sure. And the ones who proposed give an ultimatum, and then they go on the show and like do a wife swap, and then like it's a mess. They all break up in the end. Spoiler alert. Also, I realized that on Netflix, when I watch, I don't feel like I can do this on my TV, but when I was watching on my laptop, I could increase the speed. And for such mindless reality TV, it's really nice to have it on a faster speed. I just want to get through it in a way. But other than that, I really am talking about Real Housewives, and that's what I'm watching. And for the past few months, I've been watching, like, because I started from the beginning, Real Housewives of New York City. And I've been working on that for a long time, and I'm almost at the end. I'm on season 12, I think, and there's only 13 seasons. However, season 14 just started last week, and it's a brand new cast. They did a overboot rehaul, all new women on the show, so that's really exciting. I have my reservations about it. I feel like it's a little bit lacking in craziness that the original cast has. I feel like the new women are most of them are of a slightly younger generation that's a little bit more like internet marketing savvy, and I feel like they're all a little bit more self-aware of like how things they say could come off and how they're going to be perceived. So they're all being like more careful, which like that's nice, but I like to watch reality TV to see like unhinged people be mean to each other and say wild stuff, and like, you know, I don't need to see people being so careful and calculated. I want to see people embarrass themselves. Like, I don't know, maybe that's awful, but isn't that what it's all about? Okay, let me enjoy this. If you think that I sound like an evil demon talking about the reasons I enjoy reality TV, I respect that, but keep it to yourself, okay? Don't ruin this for me. So yeah, I don't know if I'll make a rivalry thread about reality TV, but maybe we can talk about it in the comments if you are also a fan of Real Housewives. I don't really want to talk to haters. I want to talk to fans. So that's exciting. I'm not finishing the original cast before I start the new one. I want to be up to date with the new one as it's happening, as people are talking about it, as people are making TikToks about it. I want to know what they're talking about. And it's completely unrelated to the previous cast, so I'm watching the old cast concurrently with the new cast because I only have like a season and a half left before I'm caught up. What else? Some of my friends came out with some lovely new patterns. Let me show them. We have the Helix pullover from Jessie May, which uses the same stitch that she used for the Helix halter, which came out a couple months ago, I think. Here it is. Very beautiful. That's actually what I was going to knit with this blue silk that I'm doing Ribley's Raglan. And it's funny because it's like a pretty similar stitch texture. It's different though. But I ended up going with Ribley's Raglan just because it's something I'm familiar with and comfortable with. And I wanted something really mindless and easy to do on the side. Plus, I've never had a Ribley's Raglan. I only ever knit one that was for Alexandra and Alexandra's size, and I gave it to Alexandra once we were done photographing it. So check that out, Jessie May Designs, Helix Halter, and then Park came out. I don't think I talked about this one on the last episode, but if I did, you'll get to hear about it again. Park knit the Siren swim skirt, which I helped photograph on our trip in Croatia, and it's quick, it's beautiful, it's easy. You could use it as a swim skirt, you could wrap it around your neck, you could do whatever you want. And come on, this swimsuit, this under titty swimsuit is so good. And then speaking of titties, Jacqueline Cieslak came out with her Bloom Bandeau, missed opportunity to call it Titty Tube Top, but here is Bettina. I don't know, I think she might just be Bettina Knits on Instagram. I don't know, type in Bettina, you'll find her. Bettina is modeling this version of the Bloom Bandeau, which I really love this with little straps and the ruching in the middle. And then here's Jackie wearing the true like tube top version, strapless and doesn't have the ruching. But congratulations to all of my friends putting out beautiful, thoughtful, fun designs. And yeah, if it appeals to you, please check it out, support knit. Isn't knitting fun? Aren't you glad that you knit? Isn't it so sweet? I'm also using TikTok again. I just mentioned this in my Instagram story. Who knows if I'll keep it up, but it just seemed like fun at the moment, so I started doing it. And I'm just posting random stuff, not really anything knitting related at the moment. I might do TikToks related to knitting at some point, but I have like a TikTok of me cleaning my whole house in super speed, which that's the one I'd recommend to you if you want to go check me out. I'm just James and Watts on TikTok. Something about that TikTok is so satisfying. It's very ASMR-y with all the cleaning noises, even sped up. I have watched my own TikTok like 15 times. And it's a long one, kind of, probably like almost 2-3 minutes. But it's like really satisfying to watch the house become clean so quickly. And I'm so happy that my house is clean. Like I never let like things pile up too much, but I can, just even within a week, sort of feel like I let things get into disarray and it becomes overwhelming. Like at the bare minimum, I like to like keep the laundry from sitting too long, keep the bed made every day, and try not to let dishes pile up. But anything outside of those 3 tasks can sometimes go a week or 2. Like little piles of yarn, knitting stuff. I let my dining table get covered in whatever, trash even. I have all my like tote bags and stuff on the backs of all my chairs and not put away anywhere nicely. So those are the things that pile up. And when I finally do have a big clean and I also like sweep and mop and scrub, it's a good feeling. I love having a clean house. Gym is going well. I'm going to the gym a lot, like 6 days a week. I don't know, probably too much, but I'm enjoying it. I just do a chest and triceps day, a back and shoulders day, and then a leg day. Also biceps get thrown in around there. Every day is core day. I'm always doing sit-ups. I'm often doing at least a few push-ups every day. Starting to do a lot more planks, side planks. I can do a pull-up now. The other day I kind of did 3 pull-ups, but I will say, I don't think we could really call them the most true perfect pull-ups because I wasn't allowing my arms to come to a complete extension. That is so hard. If I just keep even a micro bend in my elbows, it's so much easier to be able to actually do more than one. But I did yesterday. I was doing a leg day at the gym yesterday and I just checked in at the pull-up bar to see how I was doing. And I made myself do 1 pull-up from a completely extended arms, and I could only do 1, but I could do 1. So, it wasn't long ago when I started this podcast a few months ago that I was saying that was my big goal, and I've reached it. I mean, now, of course, it feels anticlimactic because I'm like, well, I want to be able to do 5 pull-ups, and I want to be able to do 10 pull-ups, and I'm sure I'll get there at some point if I keep up working out, which as of now, I see myself doing this for life. It's a lifestyle, I enjoy all the effects that working out has had on me and my life. And I also recognize that as soon as I stop, they'll go away. That's the sad thing about it. Like the physical strength and the physique is very fleeting if you don't keep up the physical activity. I didn't think too hard about getting into this lifestyle in certain ways. It's something I considered for a long time, but what I mean by I didn't think too hard is that I never really actually thought about specific goals for doing this, and I still don't have the most clear ideas other than on a smaller scale of I want to be able to lift more this week than I did last week, so a goal of getting stronger, right? But I at no point was I want my body to look like this and I want to train for this specific physique. I've never really thought about that, and I don't know about that. But I have been thinking the longer I've been going to the gym, which I've been going to the gym for over half a year, really consistently, I am starting to think what do I want, what do I not want? And I feel I'm very focused on strength training in a way that is almost bodybuilder-ish. And I like that, and I like the strength, but I don't want to be a bodybuilder, and I don't want the body of a bodybuilder. Like, I'm not trying to get huge. So I don't know at what point I want to change up my training, but I do know there are things that I would like to incorporate that I don't do. And like, I want to be working on actual skills, you know? I want to have like agility, endurance, coordination, balance. I feel like those things are not getting trained as much by the majority of the types of like strength building exercises that I'm doing. I wish that I grew up doing any sports, but I didn't, unfortunately. But it's like something I'm thinking about now is like maybe I want to get involved into some kind of sport activity. And I just saw a Facebook post on a Zagreb group from a tennis coach offering lessons, and I've always loved watching tennis. As far as sports with a ball, tennis is, I think, the most entertaining for me. And I've always thought it'd be cool to play tennis if I could, but my whole life I've always thought like I would never be like physically fit enough to have that kind of endurance and agility and coordination. Like, I lack all of those things. But now that I am a little bit more fit, I think I could try it and see. So I took that as a sign that maybe I want to try it. And now that I'm saying it out loud for my YouTube friends, that puts a little bit of pressure and accountability. So maybe I will actually reach out to this man and like have a lesson. But yeah, that's the kind of thing I'm starting to think about to mix up my physical activity in life, getting involved in a sport. Ugh, I just think I'm gonna be so bad at it. I also don't have anyone to play with, so I would just have to play with my coach, which is, I don't know, maybe he'll be really cool and fun. I don't know. With that, I'll leave you. Goodbye.